May 19, 1845. Greenhithe, England. Two ships slipped down the River Thames, flags flying, crowds cheering from the banks. HMS Erebus and HMS Terror. Reinforced, state-of-the-art vessels, carrying steam engines, reinforced hulls, and enough tinned food to last 3 years. On board, 129 officers and men, under the command of Sir John Franklin, a 59-year-old veteran Arctic explorer on what's meant to be the crowning achievement of his career. Their mission: find the Northwest Passage, a sea route through the Arctic connecting the Atlantic to the Pacific, one of the last great unsolved puzzles of world geography. Not one of these 129 men will ever be seen alive by the outside world again. By the time anyone realizes something has gone catastrophically wrong, the ships have already vanished into the ice for 2 years. This is the story of the Franklin expedition, one of the greatest mysteries in the history of exploration, and one of the most haunting. In 1845, Britain rules the seas, and finding the Northwest Passage is treated as a matter of national pride. Franklin's ships are the best-equipped Arctic expedition ever assembled. Everything about it is built to project confidence. The crew stops briefly in Greenland, sends letters home, and is spotted one final time in late July by a pair of whaling ships in Baffin Bay. Then they sail west into the ice, and the world simply loses them. For 2 years, nobody in Britain panics. Arctic expeditions routinely go silent for long stretches. No radio, no way to send word home once the ice closes in. But by 1847, with no word at all, concern turns to alarm. Franklin's wife, Lady Jane Franklin, becomes the driving force behind what turns into one of the largest search operations in history, pressuring the Admiralty, funding expeditions herself, refusing to let her husband's fate be quietly forgotten. Dozens of rescue missions set out over the following decade. British ships, American ships, overland expeditions across brutal Arctic terrain. For years, they find almost nothing. Then, in 1850, searchers finally locate the expedition's first winter camp on Beechy Island. 3 graves, neatly marked, carefully dug into the permafrost. Crew members who died early in the first winter, of causes still debated today. It's the first solid proof the expedition existed at all after leaving Baffin Bay. But it answers almost nothing about what happened next. The real breakthrough doesn't come from a British search party. It comes from the Inuit. In 1854, explorer John Ray, traveling with Inuit guides, hears second-hand accounts from local hunters describing a group of roughly 40 white men, seen years earlier, dragging a boat south across the ice, starving, exhausted, some already dying. The Inuit tell Ray something else, something far darker. Evidence at a final camp suggesting the last survivors, facing complete starvation, resorted to cannibalizing their own dead in a desperate final bid to survive. When Ray brings this account back to Britain, it detonates. Victorian society is horrified, not just by the deaths, but by the accusation itself. British officers, cannibals, newspapers, and public figures, including the author Charles Dickens, attack the credibility of the Inuit witnesses, dismissing their testimony outright. Lady Franklin herself campaigns furiously against the account, desperate to protect her husband's legacy and unwilling to accept the story as true. For well over a century, the Inuit testimony is largely ignored by the British public and press. It takes modern forensic science to finally prove they were right all along. In the decades that follow, further searches recover more fragments. A single written note, found in a stone cairn in 1859, the only written record ever found from the expedition itself. It confirms the ships became trapped in ice near King William Island in 1846. It confirms Sir John Franklin himself died in June 1847, before the worst of the disaster even began. And in a chilling margin note added nearly a year later, it confirms the surviving crew finally abandoned the ships in April 1848, setting out on foot, hauling lifeboats across the ice, hoping to reach help hundreds of miles away. None of them make it. Skeletal remains are found scattered across King William Island and the mainland beyond it in the decades that follow. Men who simply collapsed where they stood, sometimes in small groups, sometimes completely alone. In the 1980s and 1990s, forensic examinations of recovered remains find knife marks on human bones consistent with cannibalism, confirming, finally, what Inuit witnesses had said all along, more than a century after they were dismissed. The same examinations reveal something else: elevated lead levels in the remains, likely from poorly soldered tins of food or the ship's water systems. For years, researchers debate whether lead poisoning contributed to poor decision-making, paranoia, and physical decline among the crew in their final months. One more factor layered on top of starvation, scurvy, and brutal cold. For over 165 years, the wrecks of Erebus and Terror themselves remain missing entirely, one of the most sought-after shipwrecks in the world. Then, in 2014, searchers using Inuit oral testimony as a guide finally locate HMS Erebus, remarkably preserved on the seafloor near King William Island. 2 years later, in 2016, HMS Terror is found as well, sitting upright, extraordinarily intact, in a bay whose Inuit name literally translates to the place where the boat sank, a detail Inuit communities had actually known for generations, long before modern searchers ever found it. The wrecks confirm what the note, the bones, and the oral histories had already suggested. This wasn't a single catastrophic disaster. It was a slow, grinding collapse. Ice, starvation, scurvy, possible poisoning, and impossible decisions stretched out over nearly 3 unbearable years. So what actually happened to the Franklin expedition? Not one single cause. A slow accumulation of them. Ice that never released its grip in time. Food that may have been quietly poisoning the men eating it. Leadership lost at the worst possible moment, when Franklin himself died, just as conditions were about to turn catastrophic. And a final, desperate march across hundreds of miles of frozen wilderness that not one of the 129 men who set out from England would survive. For over a century, British society chose to believe a more comfortable version of this story. Heroism instead of horror, dismissing the very witnesses who had the truth all along. It took modern science and a willingness to finally listen to Inuit testimony that had been ignored for generations to reveal what actually happened out there on the ice. 129 men sailed into the Arctic, promising to fill in the last blank spaces on the map of the world. In the end, the map got filled in anyway, just not by any of them. It was filled in by the people who'd known that frozen coastline all along, and who told the truth long before anyone in London was ready to hear it.